You're listening to the Ballwin Life Podcast, episode number 9. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Ballwin Life Podcast. My name is Kirsten Hostetler, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Communication for the City of Baldwin. And today I am very excited to welcome Dave Furlong, Baldwin's PGA Pro, to the podcast. So welcome aboard, Dave.
Well, thank you, Kirsten.
Yeah, excited to have you here. Dave and I are going to talk a little bit more about the Baldwin Golf Course, kind of some things that are going on at the course now, some things that are coming in the future, and just some improvements that we've made in the last few years. But before we jump into that, how long have you been working with the City of Baldwin?
Well, I'm in my 27th year. It'll be 28 come August 1st, so it's been a ride.
And what were you doing before you came to Baldwin?
I was the assistant golf pro at Greenbrier Hills Country Club for about 8 years, and then I was at Four Seasons Country Club as the assistant there, starting out my job.
And do you have any early memories of golf, or what kind of got you interested in this role?
Well, a friend of mine was in the golf business, and he mentioned that there was a job opening at Four Seasons, and my first initial thought was, well, that's great. I can get a job in the golf business, get a new set of clubs, and then meet a rich member that'll give me a job playing golf every day.
And that's what happened, right?
That's not quite what happened, but it's been fun nonetheless. And while I've seen a lot of changes here at Baldwin, there's always been one constant that hasn't changed, and that's how nice all the people are.
Great. Well, for those of you who are listening who maybe don't know a lot about the Baldwin Golf Course, could you give kind of an overview of what our course is like, just kind of how it's set up that way?
Sure. We're a regulation, par 36, par 37 for women, 9-hole golf course. That means we have to meet certain yardage stipulations established by the United States Golf Association, and we meet all those yardages. We are not an executive course, nor are we a par 3 course. We're a full-length 9-hole course that can play pretty hard. I mean, we've got lots of creeks, we've got bunkers on almost every hole, we've got a couple hills to it, but the great condition keeps people coming out again and again.
And I know a lot of questions some people have, or a lot of times people have this question: are we a public course?
We're definitely a public course. We're just pay as you play. We don't have memberships. It's strictly a daily fee course, and we've never tried to be anything different.
Great. And what would you say to somebody who maybe used to play on the Baldwin Golf Course but hasn't returned in a while? What's changed recently?
Well, I think the staffing has changed to a large degree, that we're working harder on being more welcoming. I think the course conditions are so much better than they were maybe 8 or 10 years ago. I think they'd be shocked if they came back and played it again.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. We've gotten a lot of those comments to that sentiment lately, and it really seems like the course is the place to be now out in West St. Louis County for sure, and probably even beyond. And one way that we know that that's true is because we were recently invited to host the USGA Senior Men's Amateur Qualifier Tournament. So can you talk a little bit about that and what that means for our course?
Sure. I got a call from Kurt Roy, who is the executive director for the USGA in this area, and he put it across to me that they'd like to have the USGA Senior Amateur Qualifier out here. And I said, Kurt, you know we're a 9-hole course, don't you? Because generally, a 9-hole course does not get a USGA qualifier.
Right.
He said, yes, I know, but it's been done before, once. So we're going to have the second opportunity for a 9-hole course to host the event.
And when is that event scheduled for?
It's scheduled for August 6th.
And is there anything else that Baldwin residents should know about that? Anything that we're doing special to prepare?
No, we're just going to try to keep the course in as good a condition as it is today and maintain that through the heat of the summer, hopefully. And that if anybody wants to come out, spectators are allowed. There's no restrictions. We just ask that you keep quiet and don't bother the players.
Great. And along kind of those lines, like you said, with the course conditions really improving in the last few years, what kind of investments or improvements have we made recently?
Well, the biggest investment was a new irrigation system. The old system was put in 1962 when the course was open, and it was put together piece by piece. As one part would break, we'd put a new piece in, and that got to be where we just couldn't keep up with all the leaks and all the breakage and the poor coverage as far as the water system itself. So the new irrigation system has done wonders for us. I was initially opposed to it. I didn't want the course all torn up, but the way they do it today, there's very little, how would you say it? Interruption to the play, right? Mm-hmm. The golfers were still able to play right alongside as they pulled the new water lines underneath the ground. Didn't have to build all the trenches that I saw them doing many years ago. And it was really, really a great development for the course.
And what year was that, you said?
I believe that was probably 2014, I'm guessing. My memory's not as good as it used to be. And then the other thing is we recently got a new riding greens mower that's been great. It's got the greens a little bit faster, but much more smoother.
Great. Yeah, I know we've heard a lot of great things about both of those pieces of equipment, so we're excited to offer those to all of our players. So kind of taking more of a personal approach, as the PGA pro here for the golf course, what's your favorite part about your job?
Well, the interaction with the golfers, and also getting the opportunity to help them with their golf games, and then see them come out to the course and put that to work and see the smile on their face when they come back in.
And do you have any tips that you might give some brand new golfers or people who are listening who said, I'll never try that, like I was a couple weeks ago?
Right. Well, certainly I would recommend lessons that you look up somebody in the area that has a bit of a reputation for working with beginners. You don't want to just pick a name off the list and not do any background check on them, but find out what they teach and who their students are and do a little homework. And then take your lessons and try to practice whenever you can. It's really not that difficult to make a good swing. Everybody might tell you otherwise, but in my opinion, it's pretty simple. Little kids do it, so how hard can it be?
That's great. And since we're on that topic, one of my next questions was what kind of leagues and lessons and events do we host here at the golf course?
We've got a little bit of everything for everybody. We've got a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday ladies leagues that are pretty active, and they play during the season, April through October. On those days, we have a Monday junior scrambles that we do throughout the summer for the kids. So they're just 9 holes. And then we have a Tuesday junior league that plays on Tuesday afternoons, and they're all back in full swing. In addition to that, we have some monthly mixed couples events. They're 9-hole scrambles. They're a lot of fun. It's a great way to introduce new golfers to the game. Perhaps your husband or your wife doesn't play. Well, come out and join one of our 9-hole scrambles. It's very low intensity. You take the best shot of the foursome, take everybody's ball over to there, and keep moving in that fashion. We also have a Ballwin Men's Golf Association. They're a pretty big group. I think this year they've got about 105 golfers. They play one Saturday morning a month. And then they also run our annual Summer Classic, which is August 25th and 26th, which is a 2-day, 36-hole event composed of 3-person teams that plays that weekend.
Great. And just a reminder for anyone who's listening who's intrigued by any of the things that Dave is mentioning here, you can always head to www.ballwin.mo.us for more information. We got a ton of information there on the golf course and all the events that are coming up. And if you go to /podcast, we'll have show notes for today, and we'll link up to everything that Dave's talking about here. So if somebody was interested in booking a tee time, how would you recommend that they go about doing that?
Well, in my opinion, the easiest way is to go to the www.baldwin.mo.us website, look up Book a Tee Time, and you don't need any credit card information. You just need to give us your name and your phone number and possibly your zip code, and then you can book a tee time. Every tee time booked online saves $1 per person off the standard greens fee.
Great. And what are some comments that you maybe have heard from either residents or just anyone who's playing on the course lately? What have you heard the buzz kind of around the course lately?
Well, the buzz is that what great shape the course is, how they've played other courses in the area, and ours is by far and above in better condition than those others that they played. They question, how do we do it? Well, we've got a very dedicated staff that doesn't take shortcuts, and they stay on top of things.
Absolutely. All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap up this edition of the Ball and Life podcast?
No, but I think I'd agree with you. If you haven't played the course in a while, come on back and give us another try. I think you'll be astonishingly surprised.
Absolutely. And as always, you can feel free to head to Facebook and like the Baldwin Golf Course and Club on Facebook, and that's where you'll see a lot of pictures and videos of things that we have going on the course, as well as event reminders and all different ways to stay in touch and maybe check out the course if you haven't seen it in a while. And similarly, if you're interested in getting our newsletter, we have a newsletter that we send out via email once a month that's called News on the 9th, and I'll link that up to the show notes as well, but you can register for that on the City of Baldwin's website. And then one other side that we didn't really talk about a lot today, but if you are interested in getting information on renting the Baldwin Golf Club for an event that you have coming up, there's more information for that as well on the City of Baldwin's website. Or if you want, you can just email our events planner directly at eventsplanner@baldwin.mo.us. And other than that, thanks for coming on the show, Dave.
Well, thank you, Kirsten. I appreciate it.
All right, that brings us to the end of the interview with Baldwin's PGA pro, Dave Furlong, and we were really excited to have him on the podcast today. And just to wrap up, I'm joined with Scott Stevens again of the Baldwin Police Department, and we're just going to kind of put a little tag on the end of this interview.
Yeah, it sounded like it was a great time with the pro here. Like he was saying, this course is an amazing piece of Ballwin, and if you haven't played it, you are missing out.
And Scott, I know you've played a lot on the Baldwin golf course, so can you tell our listeners a little bit about your experience from the side of actually being on the course?
Yeah, I've been playing the course since I started working here 10 years ago, and it's anytime you hear a 9-hole course when you play golf, you're kind of like, oh, do they have the space for this? And a lot of municipal courses are squeezed in between a subdivision, and that's just not the case here. This is it's a good length course, and as Dave was saying, over the past 10 years or so, I mean, the quality of this course has improved greatly. The grass is always green, the greens are well kept and aren't crazy, and it's just been a lot of fun to play out here.
And like Dave said, I mean, a special shout out to our grounds crew. I mean, Chris Crocker and the crew down there does an amazing job of keeping this course really, really well maintained. So from my experience, I have never golfed a day in my life until about a couple of weeks ago when I came out with a coworker. And,
how did that go?
Not well, but I will say it was a lot of fun. Golfing is something that I've just put off my entire life because it just sounded way too hard. And the one time that I tried it in high school, I was terrible. And sadly to say, I'm not much better than I was. But I actually played my first full round of golf, and Dave is right. There's definitely a lot to be learned as a beginner, but it is possible, and it really was a lot of fun. So
it's a sport that you can come out and play if it's your first time. Some of those, it doesn't hurt to look up the etiquette rules before you come, so you know you're not ruining someone else's day by being a beginner. But you can come out and have a good time on a one-day trial, or come out and hit the ball around.
And I mean, it's great because then this course really, it's true that it is so versatile. It really can be for anyone. I mean, this was legitimately my first full round of golf, but then someone like you who's had golfing experience all through high school, I mean, then you still get a lot out of this course. So it's not just for beginners, and it's not just for those who are really experienced.
And it's a relaxed course. There are people here who are very good players and carry low handicaps, but there's also people like myself who carry a double-digit handicap and can still play, have fun, and be around beginners and people who are excellent golfers, and everybody gets along in a relaxed atmosphere. It's not stuffy, or it doesn't carry some of those country club feels that you get while still being a professional ran golf course.
And I know Dave and I touched on this a little bit briefly earlier, but one of the things that we're most excited about here is the USGA tournament that's coming up. So from your perspective and from the policing perspective, I mean, what does that mean for Baldwin?
Oh, it's really cool. I mean, anytime you get the opportunity, especially an opportunity that probably wasn't on our radar, really being a 9-hole course, to have that opportunity to bring in this many people who are golfers. And it's not only great for the sport of golf to have these held at 9-hole municipal courses, it's also great for the city of Baldwin and for the residents to have this chance to go out and watch this. There's not many opportunities where you can go out and watch an event of this caliber for no cost. I know the PGA are bringing events to St. Louis and have brought events to St. Louis in the past, and they're not affordable for everybody to go to, and this is an opportunity for that.
Certainly. Well, we're really excited to host that event and for everything else that's going on the course this summer. Like Dave said, we have lots of leagues and lessons and clinics and
beautiful patio.
Yeah, all kinds of events, tournaments. I mean, it's going to be a great summer in 2018.
Agreed. So hopefully we'll see you guys out here, and just yell 4 before you aim towards the police cars.